Yo, what's going on, people? Welcome on back to the channel. Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, host Jan. I hope you're doing well, mate. I really do hope that. And welcome back to Chelsea News. Of course, mate, the daily series here on the channel where I reflect on what's being said about Chelsea, giving you my opinion on it, but more importantly, asking for yours. And we're going to look at... Oh, missed the side of my chair there. We're going to look at the possibly horrendous new kit for next season and the colour scheme and the training kit and stuff, which is always a bit of fun, so strap yourselves in for that. And the big question that's cycling around Chelsea media, fan media or fan discussion, social media, is Jorginho, should he stay or should he go now? Lots to get into. Do consider subscribing. We're nearing 150k and you can be part of that difference maker, so thank you to those of you who are subscribed. Remember, hit the bell for the notifications, and of course, please drop a like on the video, mate. Dude, this video is brought to you by SPITCH. Ding ding, check out SPITCH. SPITCH is a lot of fun. It's fantasy football that has many good qualities that make it better than other fantasy footballs. For me, top of the tree, it uses Opta stats. You can have a player that plays well in fantasy football and doesn't get any points because he didn't get a clean sheet as a defender. Do you know what I mean? Only if only they actually get rewarded for playing well. They do on SPITCH, they use Opta stats. You don't have to play for an entire season. You can play every weekend when you fancy it, so it's not the end of the world if you forget. And also, you can win money on SPITCH. It's 18 plus, but it's free to play. So make sure you sign up by clicking the link in the top of the description to go and check out SPITCH, man. Why not? It's free. Just click the link and sign up. Enjoy yourself, man, and see you on there. Right then, mate, should we have a look? Should we have a look at the this horror kit that I've got ready? All right, let's look. Wah, wah, wah. So on the left, right, that blue. Look. It's giving me Brighton Seagull vibes off the bat. I'm just going to say it. It's got, look at the collar, like look at the close-up of the collar. It's got like, almost like blue veins, almost. It looks very, very peculiar indeed. Look, I don't mind the blue. I don't mind the fact how, I don't know if you can see it there, but there's like an almost kind of like ribs or pattern-y thing on the shirt. I don't think that's a problem. There's a Liverpool kit there for your disgust. This is a little bit of a closer view. I don't actually mind that sort of textured. I don't mind the light blue. It's different. I don't mind the light blue around the Nike tick. I don't mind the ribbed sort of style texture. I actually think that's cool. They're saying this is a counterfeit version there here on Footy Headlines. Who, by the way, Footy Headline. This isn't like a normal speculation. I don't know. Basically, what I want to say is Footy Headlines always get the kits right, so they've got a good reputation of the leaks being correct. So, interestingly for here as well, if you look, obviously, the free is on there. And Free have suspended. We're still wearing Free on the shirts now, but that's because Chelsea are sanctioned and they were unable to get loads of new shirts printed. But when Free wanted Chelsea to remove the logo, but I guess this indicates and implies that next season they're like, okay, look, we've only paused it while the sanctions are going on. New owners come in, we'll continue. Don't worry about it, mate. And probably, I know this is a bit cynical, but probably watching Chelsea absolutely rinse up. Like, obviously got eliminated from the Champions League, but won away in the Bernabeu, reached 2 cup finals this season, will achieve Champions League football for next season. They probably want to continue that sponsorship. Do you know what I mean? They're probably looking at Chelsea like, oh, we don't really want to lose this. Champions of the world, whatever, all that kind of gear. So that's it there. So that's the old Vapor kit pattern. So maybe, I don't know, maybe you don't have this. This is so this is the one then. So me talking about that Vapor pattern, apparently you don't have that. So this looks like a darker blue. This is the new Nike kit home shirt for next season. So by all accounts, this is it. It's the dark blue. It's plain. People will like how it's plain blue and it's not got like patterns and stuff on, because that doesn't always suit everyone's preference. It's got a little button on as well, so it's a buttoned up collar. You can't really see it. There's nothing on there's no trim on the sleeves. It looks like it shows you here the sort of pattern. Standing out in the home kit, the home jersey, it's an all blue and white with turquoise Henley neckline, and there's the turquoise around the Nike tick as well. And there you go. Here's a bigger version of the neck. This looks like a weird scribble. It's giving me weird like late 80s, early 90s vibes. For us, one for the teenagers there. A turquoise pattern can be seen on the white neck. The same design was spotted on a leaked Chelsea 22-23 item prior to the initial home kit leak. The fact how they always get these leaks right. Someone must be leaking the leaks to like get... I think it's almost like a briefing. You know when media get briefed for when from clubs and stuff. It's almost like a deliberate brief to be like, look, we're releasing this, what do you think? And then loads of people go, we friggin' hate it, and then they release it anyway. So there's a collar, and then obviously there's a training kit. That looks kind of cool, all blue with like a wavy line, S line. And then the Chelsea jacket. So I think this is probably still part of the training kit. I actually quite like this jacket. I think it's kind of cool. The pattern works because it's meant to be like a kind of, I don't know, that vibe just kind of works more on that kind of kit. So I'm all on that kind of piece of clothing. So I'm all for that. And then there's the Chelsea ball, which is kind of like moot point. But that's where we're at. The blue's good. I'm not sure about the collar. But it might look good on the players. That's the thing. You never know till you know. You can't see it at the moment. I got a couple of kits up here. I've got the current away shirt, that yellow one, which when it was first released with the lines, people were like, I'm not into that. And then it got onto players and it looks good on me as well. People's opinions change, eh? Right, so that's the kit. Let me know what you think down below. Comments your thoughts, feelings, and emotions about that new leaked kit, because by all accounts, that's going to be our kit for next season. So I'll be keen to get your thoughts. Let's talk about the midfield situation then. I've done recent videos on what Tuchel's long-term plans could be, which could involve, of course, Conor Gallagher, and which could involve, of course, possibly a Declan Rice or Aurélien Tchouaméni. So there's potentialities there and possibilities. One thing's for sure, in terms of our current trio, in terms of form, Mateo Kovacic looks like the one. He's the youngest out of Kante, himself and Jorginho, by a few years. They're both in their 30s now, Jorginho and Kante, where I think Kova's like 27 or something, so he's like in his prime. It's like 10 years younger than Modric, which is mind-blowing, his Croatian teammate. And with that, people might think, well, you look at Modric, mate, keep, Jorginho and Kante. Truth is, as much as I admire Jorginho and recognise how he's such a niche player and probably the best in the world at what he does, despite all that, his form has been poor this season by his hefty and lofty standards, as has Kante. Now, Kante is unique entirely, not because of how he plays, but because of how he plays like multiple players and plays like multiple styles. Like he can progress the ball, he can go around tackling, getting the ball back, he can combine actually, and he can occupy like loads of different spaces and cover ground well. So that's why they always say it's like the Kante twins. Excuse me. And although that level of player hasn't returned, quarterfinal, semi-final, or both legs of the semi-final and the final, he won man of the match last season in the Champions League. He was like elite god tier footballer. I don't think he's going to reach those heights again. I think Kante's ability at the top level is probably done. But regardless, I think we keep him. And I think we keep him probably because he loves that at Chelsea. He's not talking about leaving, even though he probably could still get a bit of money for him and he could go to like PSG and absolutely tear up in Ligue 1. But I think he stays. I think he wants to stay in London at Chelsea. And I think he'll probably accept a little bit of a reduced role. He's got 1 year after the season, and he might take extensions at a lower wage and realise where he's at in his career. He might do that. Now, Jorginho, his agent, has always expressed this desire for Jorginho to return to Italy, and his stock's still really high in Italy. And, he could go and play for Juventus and Juventus haven't been good for a couple of years, but, try and win Scudettos or whatever. I feel like Jorginho might be sold, and I feel like Chelsea might get a few quid for him. Not a lot, we bought him for what, 50 million, and at the time it wasn't. If you remember, the story was at the time we paid an inflated price for Jorginho because it was like a mutual understanding between Marina and Napoli that it was actually representing a kind of payoff for Maurizio Sarri. Sarri wanted to come to Chelsea, so they hired Ancelotti at the time, I think it was, but they were paying for 2 managers, and Chelsea were like, well, we'll just take him off your hands, but they wanted compensation, and they eventually came together and said, look, we'll buy Jorginho, because Sarri loves Jorginho, and we'll pay way over the odds for him, which was, at the time, of course, which was like 50, maybe even over 50 million, and of course that blew Man City out of the water, who wanted him as well. Because they weren't prepared to pay what we paid for him, but it basically was like a Sarri Jorginho double compensation package, if that makes sense. So maybe Chelsea, he was third in the Ballon d'Or, this, that, and the other. He will only have 12 months left on his deal. Midfielders in their 30s, you don't get much money for, regardless to who you are, even if you've just turned 30, and especially if you've got 12 months left on your deal, maybe if you're not coming off the best form. Chelsea might get 30 million for Jorginho because he's such a high-profile player who's won the Euros and the Champions League, and of course finished third in the Ballon d'Or. I mean, that counts for something. When clubs are negotiating, you can bet your bottom dollar that Chelsea would sit down and be like, he's done all this. Now, this is not me saying I dislike Jorginho and get him out of my club. I really like Jorginho, and like I said earlier in the video, I recognise how he's unique and special. He's a specialist and he's the best at what he does. If you want to put your foot on the ball and keep the ball and just take control of a game, he's great for that. If you want to beat teams and utilize a lot of ball progression and ball carries between the line, he's not your guy for that. And seemingly that's what Thomas Tuchel is turning to. Listen to that alliteration. And that's why he favours Mateo Kovacic. And N'Golo Kante can dribble and progress the ball. And of course, Thomas Tuchel has leaned heavily recently on Ruben Loftus-Cheek. What does Ruben do? He carries the ball. Even Conor Gallagher, who will be looking to come back into the fold, they're all kind of ball carriers. Jorginho isn't. He's a regista. He is a, metronomic passing player. And just to keep him would be useful, by the way. Because if you want that profile of player to put on in a game, you've got him. He can do really well. But despite that, he'll want to play and be the main man somewhere, and he deserves that. I think maybe he might get his move to Italy, which he'd probably be happy to stay at Chelsea, but I think he'd also be very happy to go back to Italy. And I think that could happen. That's obviously a big talking point at the moment. Chelsea have options in the midfield. Billy Gilmour, who the Norwich fans really do not like, which I find baffling. They always, not only was there there's a abhorrent chance towards him to F off back to Chelsea, but maybe I'm missing something, because online, every time, they lost that game recently, like on social media, on the Norwich Twitter, they're all saying the Gilmour effect. Gilmour on, game lost. So literally, there's this like collective disdain towards Billy Gilmour at Norwich, which is wild, because when he was playing for Chelsea, before his surgery, of course, he was getting man of the match against Liverpool, against Ancelotti's Everton, and 5-0 wins. For Scotland in Champions League and FA Cup debuts and Premier League debuts. He was winning man of the match with all of them, with amazing players on the pitch, 22 elite top tier Premier League players. He was winning man of the match all the time. And everyone was raving about him. He was incredible. So to go from that with 20th place relegated Norwich fans saying he's their worst player in their team, something's gone wrong, man. I'm really interested to see what Thomas Tuchel is thinking about this. I'm sure he wouldn't be fazed by those. He knows what Billy Gilmour is. I'm sure he won't be fazed by that fan opinion. But if he's thinking, I can make this work with him, I'm going to utilise him next season. Or if Chelsea are going to look to loan Gilmour not to a relegation fodder club, like, Ampadu went to Sheffield, which is a really bad move. Similar, you could say, with Billy Gilmour. But maybe take him to Billy, we've got you a loan to Lyon, Emerson just went on loan there. Do you know what I mean? Like a big European club that play a little bit more, that want to put their foot on the ball and knock it about, and maybe Billy Gilmour could do that. Let me know what you guys think. Comment down below. I'm interested in the midfield opinion. Start the conversation down in the comments. And thank you for joining me. Thank you for everyone that likes the video and subscribes. And I would urge you to go check out SPITCH simply by clicking the link in the top of the description. See you soon, friends. Peace.
tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo, chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I laugh me, baby.